Caloroga Shark Media.
Wow, what famous comedian hasn't been funny since 2006? Are we going to go there, John? Yeah, I think we are. But first, we'll start with John Mulaney, who has even been funny in 2024. So it's not John Mulaney. I'll tell you who it was in about 3 or 4 stories from now. Mulaney talking about his late night show. Deadline has some more information. And Mulaney said, what's great about the Netflix festival is everybody's in town at the same time. We get to see each other and we go to each other's shows. There's that brunch where we all eat salty waffles. That doesn't happen a lot. We're not in the same place at the same time. I thought what's cool is the place that we're in is the weirdest, most interesting city in the world, just the strangest place I've ever been. I've always wanted to do something about L.A. Would he do it again? He joked with Nick Kroll about doing it in maybe Montreal around the Just for Laughs festival, but that event went bankrupt. He said his inspirations included Glenn O'Brien's New York Public Access Series TV party, which ran between 78 and 82. I grew up in New York City. Now, if you grew up in New York City, you only had cable if you lived in Manhattan. I lived in Queens. We didn't get cable until, listen to this, 1987. So I'm not familiar with Glenn O'Brien's Public Access Series. And, well, it's John Mulaney. John Mulaney's not old enough for that. John Mulaney's 41. Lazy math, 24 minus 40 is 84. When did you see this thing, John? I'm very curious about that. I've never even heard of Glenn O'Brien's New York Public Access Series TV party. Doesn't mean it's not good. Maybe it's on YouTube. Maybe I'll check it out. Move along. Okay. Other inspirations. Larry King Live, I know that one. Early MTV and the McLaughlin Group. Remember that? The syndicated public affairs show that discussed politics in a roundtable format, and SNL made a lot of fun of it. Some guests who passed included David Lynch, Werner Herzog, and David Lee Roth. Mulaney says, David Lynch passed. He said, I don't understand what this is. I'm working on a new art and I have to keep my eye on the donut, which was the best pass. Everyone did pass in a nice way. Werner Herzog passed. He said, I have to keep away from the comedians. Mulaney told Jimmy Kimmel David Lee Roth was one of so many people who turned down an appearance. Mulaney said, he passed, which is okay. I respect the man. He's a solid guy. I originally asked him to be the band leader, but then I was like, oh, or just a guest. Mulaney said he really wanted to talk about life in Altadena, hope I pronounced that correctly, locals, a part of L.A. County that's located just north of Pasadena, where Roth once resided. But David Lee Roth said no to that, too. I honestly, I don't know how to appeal to him, because I'm like, it's David Lee Roth. I should just call him up and say, let's party, and he might show up. Kimmel reminded Mulaney that David Lee Roth is an EMT. Remember when David Lee Roth was a New York City EMT? Maybe just call and say, I'm bleeding, and he'll come over. That's really funny. Mulaney then said, can you imagine being in a medical crisis and you're strapped down to the board and your head's in that brace and you look up and it's David Lee Roth? That must be insane. Mulaney said he was the most self-conscious by the appearance of David Letterman. I worried that he'd be like, oh, you think you know how to run a weird show? I certainly wasn't. But then again, I don't think he nor I were trying to run a weird show. We're trying to do a good show, and those were the ideas we had. And yeah, they're weird. I did actually have the thought a few times it might be too mainstream. People will think I sold out. No, not at all, John. On Saturday, I have an interview with Jason Zinman from the New York Times. We talk about Mulaney and Letterman. I got really good response to last Saturday's interview with Mark Malkoff from the Inside Late Night podcast and the Carson podcast. If you didn't listen to last Saturday, please go back and check it out. It was fantastic. This Saturday, also fantastic. Might Jon Stewart be sticking around a little bit? That's the current speculation. His podcast debuted at #1. It's not that good, though, John. I actually got a text from an industry peer going, did you listen to this thing yet? And the industry peer and my notes are the same. So we'll see there. Back in April, Stewart told the Daily Show audience, I have to say it's been lovely. Once a week is about right for me, with people and people with me. At an event on Friday night, Stewart said, the one thing I will say is I walked away 9 years ago because I was burnt out, and I don't feel that right now. I feel reinvigorated. LateNighter.com reports Jimmy Kimmel will take the summer off again. He'll have guest hosts. Bill Maher on his podcast was chatting with Ray Romano and told Ray that Bill's not going to play colleges anymore. Maher said they don't want to hear anything they don't already agree with. They don't want their minds pried open, and you know what? Let somebody else do it. Ray said you'd have to be half this way and half that way, maybe, meaning both sides of the political spectrum. Maher said, first of all, they'd protest before we even got on the campus. I was uninvited when I was invited to be the keynote speaker at the Berkeley graduation, then re-invited, but today, are you kidding? These kids, that'd be the first thing they would do. They don't want to hear anything they don't already agree with. I'm not going to hold my tongue when they embrace stupid ideas, and of course, they'll just say the tritest, easiest, most erroneous thing lobbed at people like us, you're old! Now it's about just get off my lawn. You put zero amount of thinking to the actual point I'm making. You don't engage with the actual idea. Should we bring communism back because I think it's a bad idea? Maybe because I remember what happened the first time and you don't. You don't care to learn. Wow. Will Ferrell. Remember how I opened up the podcast. Will Ferrell wants to be people's sexiest man alive. Will told people he's planting the seeds to end up on the cover because you guys never have comedians, so it's going internally, all right? Sexiest man. So that got me wondering, Will Ferrell. When's the last time Will Ferrell was funny? Was it at the roast of Tom Brady? Nope, it definitely wasn't then. So I went to imdb.com. Now, I know right now you're like, John, you're being a donkey hole. All right, let's just go through the IMDb. You ready? Pull up a chair. I got a lot to read here. You let me know when we get to something, okay? Most recent appearance, John Mulaney's Everybody's in L.A. Not funny. TV series In the Know, he played Gene. Quiz Lady, Strays, Barbie, Spirited, Have Your Elf a Merry Christmas, The Shrink Next Door, Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga, you want to go with that? Impractical Jokers the movie, Downhill, Between Two Ferns the movie, Zeroville, The Lego Movie 2, Drunk History, Holmes and Watson, I Love You America, the 2018 Rose Parade, No Activity, where he played Adrian back in 2017. You want to give it to Daddy's Home 2 in 2017? His appearance on The Jim Gaffigan Show, Zoolander 2, Daddy's Home, The Last Man on Earth, The Spoils Before Dying, A Deadly Adoption, Get Hard. Are you mad at me yet for reading this list? Because I'm going to keep going till I get to one. Welcome to Sweden, The Spoils of Babylon, The Lego Movie 2014. He's great in that. He's not funny. It's a great movie. He's great in it. Fantastic job, but he's not funny in it. 2013, Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues. I might give you that one. I'll give you that one. You know what? I take back my 2006. 2013, Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues. He played Ron Burgundy. So I've changed my mind. I was wrong. 2013, not 2006. Now, other things he was really good in, The Office as D'Angelo Vickers, where he played it straight. I thought he was great in The Office, and I was sad when they didn't kill him off, but they knocked him off. But he was great in that. He would have been good playing that role, not for laughs. In 2009, he's in something called The Goods Live Hard, Sell Hard. He plays McDermott. Interesting. Used car liquidator Don Reddy is hired by a falling auto dealership to turn their 4th of July sale into a majorly profitable event. It stars Jeremy Piven, Ving Rhames, and David Koechner. And, of course, Will Ferrell as McDermott. But that's not what I was going for either. 2006, Talladega Nights. That one was going to give him. All right, now you've made an enemy of Will Ferrell. But he was ice cold to me when I met him 15 years ago and invited him on Jim Brewer's show, which I think was more about his feud with Jim than me. But, hey, met you once, didn't enjoy it. Hannah Einbinder's special is out today. Among the topics, spoilers, her time as a cheerleader at Beverly Hills High School. She says, I was very dedicated to perfection. I think my work ethic can be very, obviously to me at least, be attributed to my time as a cheerleader. She also dealt with ADHD and said, I was really rambunctious and I really think Jim Carrey's physical style spoke to me and I kind of started to mimic him. In college, she got the opportunity to open for Nicole Byer. Then she realized how important comedy would be to her life. That's what became very clear to me. I didn't really view it as, this is my career. I just maybe naively viewed it as, I'm obsessed with this and I'm going to pursue this and I can't stop doing it. Mo Welch's special is also out today. Now, the initial release had it coming out on 800 Pound Gorilla tomorrow, but the 800 Pound Gorilla website itself says it's out today. I assume they would know when their own special is out, so let's guess it's today. Filmed at the Lodge Room in Highland Park and all over Illinois, Mo Welch's debut special follows her as she explains her lifelong obsession with dad jokes as a way to process the aftermath of her own father's abandonment. Kevin Hart, never afraid to work. He's back for a 4th season of Heart to Heart on Peacock. The new season will feature Mac Packer, Andy Samberg, Judd Apatow, Ben Affleck, George Lopez, and others. That's out June 20th on Peacock. Dan Aykroyd is doing a deep dive on the Blues Brothers. It's a new podcast on Audible, so behind a paywall. It's called Blues Brothers, The Arc of Gratitude. Dan will accompany listeners through late nights in the early days with John Belushi at Dan's Speakeasy in Toronto, to working with blues legends Aretha Franklin, James Brown, and Ray Charles on the Blues Brothers movie, through the founding of House of Blues, the Blues Brothers 2000 sequel, and beyond. That's out July 25th. Met Dan once in Chicago at a Blues Brothers themed event. That is not easy to say. He was super cool. Jimmy Kimmel and David Letterman are teaming up to develop a talk show for Lunel. Kimmel said Lunel's a super funny person, and obviously she impressed David Letterman when she was on with Mulaney on Everybody's in L.A. Apparently, the three of them were on a Zoom call talking about some concepts. And that is your comedy news for today. If you like these episodes ad-free, go to caloroga.com/plus. Follow the instructions there. $4.99 a month will get you this thing ad-free and the other shows on the network ad-free. Do you really like casino ass that much? I don't. See you tomorrow.